This is an After Effects tutorial. It's going to be using Photoshop and After Effects to achieve this.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Sometimes when we shoot, we're not looking on the day of, and we accidentally shoot something else that we don't want in frame, and we're like, oh, I want this plant to be gone. I don't want this plant in my frame anymore. Sometimes you don't have to regret not getting in camera. Is that what we want to do? Do you want to aim to do this for every shoot? No. All right, so 2 disclaimers. 1, I am not an expert in Photoshop or After Effects. I'm just not. The second disclaimer is the shakier the footage, the harder it is to match. But it's better if it's smooth, planned out footage. Okay, I lied. 3 disclaimers. The third disclaimer is if you don't already know Photoshop and After Effects on a beginner sense, you might want to brush up on Photoshop and After Effects, because this isn't for like absolute beginners. It's for somebody who already has a working knowledge of After Effects and Photoshop and the basic tools. With that being said, let's get into it. So I'm just going to download some clips from Envato because I don't have anything specific that I want taken out of my footage. So we're just going to scroll down Envato and see what we can find. And speaking of Envato, our sponsor for today is me. That is all. So step number 1, we're gonna have to analyze the footage. I downloaded 2 things. I don't know which one I'm gonna do. I might do both. Let's do this. We're gonna do the one, happy family watching TV and petting cats on sofa. Very descriptive, Envato. Great job. 7 out of 10 on the title, very descriptive. Let's watch it all the way through. Very simple movement. This might be too simple. But we're gonna do it anyways and just see how it works. We wanna remove this plant from the background, but we want the same movement. We want everything to look good and seamless. So what do? I make sure that I get a screenshot. I'm gonna start here just because I can see majority of it. And I'm going to take a fat old screenshot right here. Boom. Next step, open up Photoshop. The next thing we're gonna be doing is editing the screenshot to look flawless, how we want it to look in the video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just drag and drop. All right. As you see, it's kind of grainy and all that, but it really doesn't matter too much because it's way in the background. It's never going to be this big on the screen unless you're watching on like a 70-inch TV. It's this little Band-Aid thing right here, and I go to Patch Tool. So we're going to go ahead and draw a big old thing around right here. Make sure we get little details of this plant. And boom. It might require more than just this, but this is what we're going to do for now. We're going to the healing brush tool. So it's the same little thing, the Band-Aid healing brush tool. And in order to sample, you press the Alt or Option depending on what platform you're on or operating system. And we click where we want the sample. I'm gonna go all the way over here. Make sure that that lines up. Boom. We're just gonna run with it. We're gonna go ahead and file, save as. We're gonna save on our computer, and because we're good editors, we're just gonna go ahead and drop it in this little project file. We're just gonna call it Plant Removal Bookshelf. That is not what good editors call files, but you know, sometimes we gotta be a little edgy. Sometimes we gotta live on the rough side. You know what I'm saying? Because I live on the rough side. Yeah. All right, next, open Adobe After Effects. So we're gonna take our happy family watching TV and petting cats on a sofa file, and we're going to drag it into the project. And since we're good editors, we're gonna go ahead and make a folder called footage. We're gonna drag that in there. Let's make another folder called Photoshop files, because we're great editors, like I keep on saying. Manifest it. So we're gonna create a composition from our unfixed video. So right click, new comp from selection, boom. All the dimensions and all that should all be the same. And we're gonna go ahead and take this plant bookshelf, drag right on top of it. Look at that, beautiful. We're gonna go to the end of our timeline and we're going to go ahead and match this up. So right now we have it in place, but we're not gonna do anything yet. We're going to place trackers. So again, if you're not too familiar with After Effects, you probably want to just familiarize yourself real quick. If y'all want me to do more tutorials on like more in-depth things like beginner level, I can. Just comment down below and I'll do that for y'all. But for this one, all right, so I hid our Photoshop fixed layer. We're just going to, but we don't want to see it right now. We're going to go ahead and place trackers. All right, so we're going to go to Layer, New, Null Object. We're going to call this, since we're fantastic editors, Tracker Plant. I don't know. Tracker Plant. That makes no sense because it doesn't matter. All right. So if you don't know what a tracker is in After Effects, it's literally, we're going to be tracking the motion of the camera, the motion of whatever it's doing. You want to track how big something gets over a certain time, what's the rotation, what's the position of it. And it has different use cases. Like we're using it because we want our Photoshop layer to move just like the original layer. That's why we're using the tracker right now. It's going to make keyframes for us. It's going to automate that part, so we don't have to do the dirty work and go frame by frame and place our Photoshop fixed file. All right, so we got the tracker plant null. We're gonna go to our tabs and we're going to go select tracker. Motion source. So we want to sample this Happy 36, our original file. So we have our original file selected. We want to track the motion. And we want to know, we don't need to know scale. I don't think anything is scaling up or down in this. There's no rotation. We just need one point. We just need to know where, for example, as close as we can get to the part that we photoshopped, which is right here. We just want to know where this plant is from 0 seconds to the end of the video at 17 seconds. So we're going to zoom in a little bit and we want to edit the target. This is where the keyframes are going to be. So we want that to be on our tracker, our null object. So we're going to press that. All the keyframes are going to go to this layer right here. We are going to, let me zoom out so y'all can see what this is doing. We're going to place this little viewer window. This is going to tell where we're tracking. We want this. The best area to put these is in highly contrasted areas. So I'm putting one on the white spot, one on the wood spot, and we want it all to be right here. Want it to be as accurate as possible. Another good area would probably be right here, but let's do the flower pot and see how that does first. Okay, so we're gonna make sure we're at 0 and we're going to track it forward and it's just gonna be automatic. Let's see how it does. Notice that the tracker point, the thing that we just placed, it doesn't move at all. And that's what we want. Sometimes it might go up and down, but we have to go back into the keyframes and fix that. Did he just stuff the cat back in the pillow? All right, and our tracking is done. It looks like it did a pretty good job. I don't know what this little line is here, but I trust that the camera did do that. When I was watching playback, I did see little bumps in the dolly or whatever they were using. So it looks like it might be right. We're gonna say that it is. We're gonna press apply. Apply is gonna go ahead and give us our keyframes. It's under here and it should be in this null object as well. Boom. Now let's turn back on our Photoshop layer, and as you see, the plant is gone. And we're gonna go ahead and mask only the area that we need. Make sure that the Photoshop layer is selected, and we're gonna go ahead and mask out just the thing that we need. As you see right now, the Photoshop file is darker. I don't know why, but we're going to fix that at the end. It's not gonna look like that the whole time. So let's go ahead and parent and link. Again, I'm not going to explain everything, but we want to parent. We want the parent to be the tracker. All the keyframes that are on tracker plant is automatically going to be applied to this Photoshop file if we parent it to it. So this is from doing nothing. We made our tracker. We parented the Photoshop file with the tracker, and we have not done any finessing yet. But let's go ahead and look. We're just going to play it back. So I already see that it's not lined up. It's not lined up perfectly, but we're going to fix that. So what we're going to do is we're going to force this thing. Like I said, folks, this is mostly just a finesse. And what I'm also going to do is press F to reach my mask feather. Let's just put that to like 12. I really just recorded for 30 minutes straight. 30 minutes, 30 minutes straight. And didn't realize that my mic didn't have an SD card in it. Sorry. You can still hear me fine. The information is the same, no matter if it's in this or this. We see that everything is looking good. We scaled it up a little bit to make sure that our bookshelves aren't warping or anything. Make sure that the track is staying there the entire length of the video. And I think all that looks pretty good. I think what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make sure that this Photoshop layer is the same color, has the same noise pattern, all that. We're gonna make sure that it's seamless with the background. So as you see right now, it's a little, I am noticing something weird, that this comes down, this shadow comes down. There is a way to, since this is a Photoshop file, if we were to go back to Photoshop and correct it, it's just gonna update. And that's the great thing about working off of Photoshop file. But we're not gonna worry about that right now. Right now, we're going to go ahead and color match everything. So right now, I'm gonna assume that we just need brightness and contrast on it. So we're gonna go over here to our tab. We're gonna type in brightness and contrast. And let's see, I think it just needs a little bit more brightness. Let's do like 13. Let's see what 10 looks like. Let's go up one more. Let's go up to 15. That's 15 brightness. Starting to look good. I would say that it's still a little darker. Let's just over crank it and then work back. That starts to look. Let's add some contrast. And be careful with this because it is 100% possible to overdo it. You see that? I didn't overdo it, but I do see my line. You see that right there? I'm gonna see if that's a Photoshop problem or is that a mask. Can we fix that with a mask? I'm gonna click P to get to my pen tool. Just kidding, I am not. Back to my mask. I'm just gonna go ahead and click this P. Pen tool is G. You know what? It's time to rant. I don't understand why Adobe, the Creative Suite, has like 6 different platforms, all have the same tools, the exact same tools. But After Effects has different quick commands, default quick commands than Premiere. And Premiere is different from Photoshop and Illustrator. You know, it doesn't make sense. I don't know why they do that. It makes no sense. But you can change them yourself and make them all the same. I don't do that, as you see clearly. I just bamboozled myself. So we're going to do this. I always like to, you know, put a little bit of shape into it. And that's just to kind of move the eye so that you don't see a straight line. It's harder to see it when it's like that. And this is kind of the finesser way to do it. You know, if this was a professional job, I might not do that. I might actually try to Photoshop it out or whatever the case may be. You see, we put up the feather a little too high and we're starting to see the plant. So let's bring that down so we don't see the plant. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. Do we see the line anymore? No, we don't. I think that looks really good. And honestly, I think it's the same color now. All we needed was the brightness and contrast, and then when we zoom in, I don't even see a difference in the noise pattern. Look at that, look at that. Boom. All right, we kind of messed up on the books. but it's nothing that we can't fix right now. We're gonna take this and let's just move it over a little bit. No big deal. No big deal. I'm a magician. That's what all the good old agencies call me when they ask me to do this. They're like, oh, you wizard. You did your wizarding. They do that too. Wizarding. You know what would be amazing? Wizard ASMR. And here's my wizard stick. Oh. Leviosa. Hello, Hermione. Would you like to go on a date with me? Back to what we're doing. I'm sorry. So when we played all the way through, it looks like there's no discrepancies. Everything looks like it's moving perfectly. The tracker is doing its job, and I think we photoshopped it pretty well. If you're doing this professionally and for like, if you're doing it for an editor as like raw footage, it's important to look at what the codec and all the crap is. So we're gonna go right here. Happy family watching TV with kittens and smothering cats under their pillows. Go to get info. And we're gonna scroll down yonder. Oh great, 3840 by 2160 Apple ProRes 422 HQ. Now we know what to save in. So we're gonna go here, output module, QuickTime, great, format options. We're gonna scroll down to Apple ProRes 422 HQ. We're gonna press OK, and we're gonna put happily family watching TV and petting blah blah blah. And we're good editors, so we're gonna be like fixed. And who fixed it? By VT. Those are my initials if you don't know. And what's today's date? Today's date is 01/01/22. It is the first day of the new year. So happy new year to you. I am making YouTube tutorials because we grind over here. We are hustling, unlike you all who are recovering from a hangover. Because I'm on my grind, dude. I'm on my freaking grind. 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. And this is around the time where you always see something you messed up on and you're like, oh man, I forgot to fix XYZ. And then you go back and then, you know, you send it to the client and the client's like, oh, since you did that so well, can you also take out every single book on the shelf? A couple seconds closer to death. And it's done. That beautiful sound means it's done. And you know it has an error when it balls at you. The error message is like, bah! Y'all didn't need to know that. Check it out. It's fixed. Yay. And I couldn't have done it without you. Just kidding, I could have, because this was a tutorial for you. I could have 100% done it without you, but I am glad you came for the journey. I'm glad you watched this tutorial, and if you want more specific things, if you want some more editing or After Effects tips or specific beginner guides to whatever program, I don't know, ask away in the comments and I'll read them, and if I like what you're saying, I will be like, sure, I can do that. If you have questions, comments, or even if you just like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye Hermione.